Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to take apart one of these GameCube controllers. Now this has been probably my most requested video of like all time. But yeah, so anyways, let's get into it. So first of all, you're gonna need a tri-wing screwdriver here. See, I got this one off of eBay for like $5. I'll link it in the description. And so yeah, let's get into it. I have this one coiled up. Usually it's not a good idea to wrap up your controllers like this because it makes the wires go bad. But if you do it too tightly that is. So on the back there are 6 screws. There's 2 down in the handles, 2 right here, and 2 on the top. These are pretty easy to take out. You just put the screw in and start twisting. And make sure you have the right size screwdriver, otherwise you might end up threading the screws, then no one can open it, which is pretty sad. But I think these outside screws are pretty strong, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And there we go. Got all 6 screws out. Now when you open this, you have to be careful. You don't want to open it facing this way, otherwise you'll have all the buttons just fall out and make a huge mess everywhere. So place your controller down this way and slowly lift off the back piece. And that will reveal the inside. Now there's nothing in here that would fall out unless these are unscrewed, which I don't know why they would be. So you can just put this aside, you don't need this for now. And inside you can see this is the inside of the controller, this is the rumble engine, the motherboard and all that whatnot. So at this step, I would take off the Z button first because this thing could, if this thing falls out and gets lost, that'd be pretty bad. So just pop it out like that and put it aside. Now the motherboard is pretty easy to take out. Just make sure you let me put this up. So you see this little zip tie right here that keeps this cord from getting like yanked out of the controller. So you just have to pop it off that hook like that. Now the motherboard you can simply pull it out, and there you go. But here's the front side of the motherboard. If you want to replace the stick caps, you just have to pull these off and then pop new ones on. It's pretty simple to do. It's probably like the easiest thing to do with these controllers. And over here we have the shell with all the buttons and the contacts. If you want to take it apart further, you pop off these contacts. They just come off. And then you got each button right here. You just pop them out and clean them if they're dirty. And I'd recommend cleaning your controllers because a bunch of dirt, dead skin, and whatever gets stuck in there, and it's pretty nasty. And it's the same with these buttons. Just pop the contacts off, and then you can just pop the buttons off. And that's basically it. So if you want to take apart your controller, whether it's for replacing parts or cleaning, this is basically how you do it. These are very simple things to do. It's a very simple controller to fix or to clean. So this was my first controller I learned how to fix. So I recommend using this one if you have one lying around for practice. But yeah, that's basically it. And to put it back together, here I'll just go show you. Instead of saying do the same thing but backwards, that's what most people say when it comes to repairs. But there's actually a few tricky things. When you put it back together, there's these little triggers right here. These are for the back triggers, these sliders. Make sure to slid all the way up when you put the shell back on. Otherwise, your trigger buttons won't work. You would notice it. It would just feel kind of weird. So make sure they're slid up all the way. See? And then pop this thing back into place. See this little hook? It goes right here on this little circle point. Just you might have to lift the motherboard up a bit to get it to fit. It's a 2-hand process. You pop that on there, and then also make sure this zip tie thing, push that into this crack here, otherwise the controller won't be able to close. And it's basically like that. See? Make sure this is hooked on and this is tucked inside the shell, and that should keep everything together. Next up is the Z button. This thing's always a pain to put back in. It constantly falls out. So when I put them in, I like to press this tab in a bit and just kind of slide it in right here. Also, there's a little tab on the end of this thing. Just, you have to keep this underneath the shell. So press the spring down and just pop it back in. as you see here, I missed the tab, so this part's sticking out. So what you want to do is slide it a bit, and then there you go. Now this controller is back together, where the Z button is. And from here, you just basically put the shell on, the back shell, and everything should click back together like that. Now before you put the screws in, just make sure all the buttons are clicking properly, because sometimes the contacts may slide and that makes the buttons feel really weird, like they don't click properly or might not register. So once everything is good here, then turn it back over carefully and put the screws back in. Also, a little tip: if you have the nastiest screws, or some screws are cleaner than others, put the nastier screws inside the handle here where no one can see them. But that's just a small thing if you care about like the controller looking nice. And there you go. The controller is put back together and everything's working fine. All the buttons should be clicking properly and the shell should be on tight. And so yeah, that's basically how you clean up your controllers. And when I put mine away, I make sure to get these tangles out. I put 2 fingers right here and wrap them around the fingers like this, so that the wire isn't too tight around the controller, which can cause some like cord damage and whatnot. So yeah. But anyways, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, as I'll be making more videos like this. So yeah, see ya.